A very good afternoon to each one of you. On behalf of Bangalore Chamber of Industry and Commerce, we welcome you all for this exclusive session on Fireside Chat on Agri-Fintech in India. The session is organized under the aegis of Agro and Food Processing Expert Committee. The chamber is particularly beholden to Mr. Timmana Gouda, the founder and CEO of WhatsLoan Bangalore, for accepting our invitation to address at this session. Thank you very much, sir, for your support. The Agro and Food Processing Expert Committee is chaired by Mr. Ankur Bhaumik, Chief Operations Officer, MTR Foods, Mr. Prakash, who is the Technical Director, Center for Holistic Agriculture and Green Enterprises, Mr. Jagadeesh Sunkad, Director, Kanakadara Agricultural Innovations, and mentored by Mr. Narsimha Nakshatri, Pro Vice Chancellor of BCIC. The Chamber acknowledges the support of its member organizations for their annual support in all the activities of the Chamber. Mrs. Bueller, Fundamax, MTR Foods, IAMPL, SDMIMD, Sona Group, TVS Motor, Vishwas Group, and Wipro. Thank you once again to all of you for joining this session. I now hand over the stage to Mr. Jagadeesh Sunkad to take it over from here. Over to you.
Thank you very much, ma'am. It gives me great pleasure to have you all today. It's a Monday, week beginning and afternoon when people after lunch would be tired, but just that you are here tells me that the topic caught your attention, and thank you very much for that. For me, I've known Timmana for a little while, but there were two incidents which really prompted me to get him to participate here and share his journey. Many years ago when I was with farmers, a large bank had approached me and said, look, we don't know where are farmers to lend. So can you help us reach out? We are willing to give loans to farmers. Okay. The farmers laughed and said, who are you going to give loan to? We already taken all the loans available. Second incident recently, about a year ago, I was with the coffee planters. And similarly, the planters looked at me and laughed. This fellow has come to give us loans. And at a policy level, we know that money is a missing thing for farmers to do his business. So there is some disconnect in that picture which I've been looking at. And when I came across Timmana and the work that he has done using technology, I said we should listen from him. So without telling much about him, he's a banker, but a technologist and has served the farmers. I would let you do the talking, Timmana.
Thank you.
And Ravi sir, please request you to carry him through with the Fireside journey, with the startup journey, because we have three distinct topics today. We have an agri dimension to it, we have a banker's dimension to it, we have a startup dimension to it. So I hope it's interesting to all of you. Towards the end, we'll have a Q&A. You're most welcome to participate, please. Thank you. Timmana, over to you.
Thank you, Jagadeesh, and thank you, BCIC members and office bearers, Mr. Ravi. I'm very happy to be here, part of Bangalore, part of Karnataka, part of India. And I am a banker. The last 20 years, I've been in lending. Particularly, I'm a farmer's son, but I've been, by chance, I was a consumer banker, investment banker. I've dealt with MSME lending. There, I've chanced upon a few of the agri MSMEs, but I wouldn't say I would have touched farmers there. When I started thinking about WhatsLoan was about my learnings of 20 years. It was not an aha moment, like, you got an idea and you chanced upon it. I felt the pain throughout, at least I would say last 10 years of my career when I was at the highest level, policy making, policy implementation, as a credit and risk head, implementing the technology. Everybody was pushing their agendas. The core banking systems, loan management systems, and loan origination systems were built for the banks, not for the consumer. They were not built for the end user. And less of, I wouldn't know about farmer then, but I said definitely not built for channels who are on the forefront to meet the customer. We have never, as a private bank, I've never met the customer in my life. I've done millions of customers, but I've never met them. We would meet them through DSAs, auto dealers, builders, various channels, branch channels, direct sales channels, all that. So we felt, okay, only the technology was delivering, the distribution process were delivering. The technology that was built, listening to the bankers, not listening to the ground, not listening to the channels. We were asked to force fit our products into the technology. That's where I chanced upon, okay, something is missing. For example, as a credit head, I was doing a TAT analysis, turnaround analysis. We had given a 90% weightage for that, for my credit manager. Everybody scored beautifully. I said, there's something wrong. I called out 200, 300 customers, and they had not felt the same TATs on their side. So what was missing is it was inside the bank TAT, not the customer TAT. So I recognized that as from a customer wanting a loan to log in is the problem that I have to solve. That's where I said, okay. So I just stepped out and I said, it was not about technology. I would say fintech is not about technology. Fintech is about domain. Whether it's insurance, lending, or payments, you have to have solid domain knowledge. It is only 20-30% technology. If somebody tells it is technology, it is overrated technology. Technology is very light and it's readily available, like ONDC, Woken. They're all readily available. They're open sources today. So we started that, and yeah. So that's where I stopped, and I'm a career banker and chanced upon to become, serving the farmers. And I would love to serve the agri-techs and all the agri ecosystem, processors, industrialists, MSMEs, and all of that. Thank you.
So we had an opportunity to talk to Timmana earlier also, and his journey from a banker to somebody who's actually servicing the last mile connect for various banks has been, I think, a revelation for him as well as a revelation for us. And it's a critical problem across the industry, whether it is whether an MSME is trying to approach dealer distributors or whether a bank is trying to approach farmers, it has been an issue. So could you spend some time helping us understand the kind of timelines that were involved earlier in terms of reaching to the end customer and the kind of costs that were there, and you're bringing in this connect? What did it really change for the bank?
Yeah, okay. When we started with Canara Bank as trying to solve the home loan problem, and we were given approval in a day to implement. If it's cloud, I said we can implement fast. When somebody said I can give an approval in 3 hours, and how many days we can implement across India? I said 3 days, without meeting anybody, without going to the branch, on a video conference. We implemented across 216 centers. And that was real, and they were quite impressed, and they referred us to Karnataka Gramina Bank, which covers most 20,000 villages of Karnataka. And mostly, the Gramina Bank's mandate is to serve the rural and farmers and rural customers. And they also do affordable housing and all of that. When we are trying to implement the retail stack, that is, we call it as a platform, Chairman made a statement that everybody wants to serve an urban class. Everybody wants to serve digital millennial. Nobody brings this technology to the farmer. I said, sir, don't say that. Technology doesn't have any preferences. I said, I'll sign a contract, you build and show. I took 3 months' time, went back. During thick of Corona, we delivered a platform for Karnataka Gramina Bank, bringing down the answer to the question, that 4 to 6 weeks of turnaround times to do a renewal or a fresh Kisan credit card was their problem. A lot of paperwork. Hence, when there is a paperwork, all the problems of the paper, I won't want to use the word fraud or those kind of things. I call it as a mischief at the ground level. So that entered the system, and a lot of people were definitely called out for those mistakes. We said, okay, so what are the process? We went to the branches, we sat down. I didn't know anything about agriculture financing. We just saw what is happening. And customers asked to go back, get a RTC, ROR, the mutation register. Then where is your KYC? KYC is not matching, all of that. I said, okay, don't ask the customer to bring a paper. Ask the customer to tell you his information. It starts with Aadhaar. The basic data point is Aadhaar is very well seeded with Jan-Dhan accounts, particularly because of PM Kisan. And this has really encouraged the farmers to seed the Aadhaar with the thing more than the urban class. They've seeded more than the urban class because they would like to see that SMS coming to them. So we took that, and the KYC was easy. Our re-KYC was easy. And then what is the next thing? Like, what is your land? Instead of asking to go get an RTC and ROR, if you get it to the branch, you have to send it back to the lawyer to verify that, and that costs a lot of money. I said, okay, if Karnataka government was the first state to go digital way back in 2004, why are we asking somebody to go to the Tahsil office and print that and pay that extra money to get it fast and bring it back and you send it for verification to the same place? What if I get it directly from the system? We developed that API, like one of our open systems, and we developed that API. And we were able to bring. So what are the next? You have to fill up an application. Customers semi-literate, not literate, or you would do a mistake. Even we do mistakes in application. If you do a mistake, you have to cross-sign 10 times so that somebody can correct it. So no, we'll autofill it in Kannada, English, whatever language. Whatever we got from the data and the documents will be autofilled into the application. You can print and sign it, or you can e-sign it. Then we said, okay, what is the system the Karnataka Gramin Bank is using? They're using the Infosys core banking system. We connected to that core banking system, and we're able to deliver a loan, renewal ourselves on an assisted model in 10 minutes. So that is the improvement, sir.
Which normally took about 3 months from what we...
6 weeks. And they were asked why they're not able to do in 15 days by the government. They had to answer those questions. Very, what you call uncomfortable questions by NABARD and RBI. We brought it down to 10 minutes.
So Timmana, that brings me to a very interesting aspect of, how solution providers, the startups, etc., look at these domains. They think agriculture and they kind of rear back saying, this is very complicated, too many issues. How are we going to enter that? And they don't enter, right? But my learning from this is that if you really put your head to it, there are databases available, permissioned databases available, which can actually help you address the last mile problem. That's the sense I'm getting with you. And that's what you discovered. And as you rightly said, the advantage of being a banker and having domain knowledge would have been greatly helpful for you.
It is.
And this is another thing I see in startups, that they hesitate to go back to experts or people who can help them. And they think that they follow it on their own. It's all about it's not about technology, as he's also mentioning. It's really about what do you know about the problem and how intent you are on solving it. And I'm really very impressed that you kept at it. I mean, you didn't get, I think because you're a banker, it helped. You understood this fairly well. But that brings me to another question, that Kisan Card has been introduced long back. What have been the challenges around Kisan Card, and why hasn't it been as successful as it was hoped it would be? 120 million Kisan Cards to be issued, right? Or already issued?
PM Kisan beneficiaries 120 million.
Yeah.
And that has to be saturated. This is called out by the government in 2020, February. Saturate that population. That's called a DBT population, direct benefit transfer population. They have been identified, Aadhaar is seeded, and that is or even the land is identified. If the land is identified, exactly government has got a knowledge of how much land this person owns now. Now they're saying there is something called 10,000 to 50,000 flexi KCC. More than 50,000 to 1.6 lakh is called non-mortgageable KCC limit, which is you don't have to go to even registered office to do that. 1.6 lakh to 3 lakhs, which is generally Gramina banks and the public sector bank operational area, which is a subsidy, interest subsidy portion. So that has been these three levels, and they've been called out in the layers like, PACs, primary credit cooperatives and district cooperatives, state apex banks and Gramina banks. There are 45 Gramina banks. There are 65,000 operative PACs, and there are 12 public sector banks. They take the 75% of the load, and another 25% is taken by the private banks. Even they are mandated to do agri-finance up to 18% and allied activities of another 12%. So you could be here and there. And 70% of the agri lending in India happens to Kisan Credit Card.
Okay.
So it has become one of the best ever sold product in the world from 1998 to till date. 17 crore people have benefited out of it. Present sitting book is about 7 crore farmers.
So what are the issues around usage of Kisan Card?
Please permit me to tell the sordid story of Kisan Credit Card and agriculture. This party to it, and I see the solution to it. Okay, the sordid story really goes this way. Government meant that if I give farmer has a problem for money, if I give him a loan, he'll use it for his business. Okay, but somewhere we did not educate the farmer how to use this credit card. He has no idea what's a credit card. I and you know it. The moment we get a credit card, I have a loan. Say I have a loan of 2 lakhs. I will not blow up 2 lakhs when I get a card. Okay, I know how much I need to use, how much I repay, and some I keep for contingency. But farmers ended up drawing and cashing out all that money because there was no set to say this credit card limit has whatever number of amount. He used to be used for only agriculture. I mean, he could do anything with that money. So obviously he did whatever he could. Second injustice we did is we went out to the farmer and said, look, I'm going to write it off for you. We taught them the bad habits. We taught them the indiscipline. Okay. So what was a well-intentioned policy really did not deliver on its intent simply because none of the money got used for the farming. And all farmers are sitting there with bad credit scores and no access to finance.
Mhm.
Okay. Timmana, how are you looking at this?
And for no fault of theirs.
Yeah, no fault of theirs. Because we trust something that they did not know how to use.
Interestingly, a Kisan credit card is not a credit card, it's a debit card.
First distinction.
Because it's a loaded card. There is an overdraft behind that, and you have a loaded card, right? Including me, when they send a card separately, the password comes separately. I think they get misplaced. You don't activate it. Okay. Imagine that level, can you ever activate? So he's not interested in the card. He is interested in the money. And it's allowed to be withdrawn from the SB account. So you transfer the loan account to SB account immediately. It may not even reach the village. To that extent, that's happening. That's the reality. Though they say, okay, for all paper purpose, we write it as, okay, 20% for inputs, 10% for consumption, 20% for marketing, and rest in between. He's not an accountant. He's not a businessman. So how does he really segregate? The most urgent needs of his personal life or whatever happens and the money is used. It doesn't mean that he doesn't grow anything because he manages, right? And I'll pick it up later for the time. It forms part of the neo-banking for the farmers, and I will come to that later. But primarily, thing is first, we are solving a delivery problem, sir. It's not a credit problem. Even if you say there is a low and low credit scores, doesn't really matter. For the banks have already been very kind on that. I think the regulator also would be, very governments are supporting that. There should be no NPA, no write-offs, no legal things about it. We have been running the platform and the low scores are acceptable. And alternatively, what we have done is, interestingly, the person is not important here as a farmer. Land is important. He's not going to go to the office. He's not offering his labor. He doesn't have skills anything other than on his land, right? What should we look at? We should look at the land, not the person. It doesn't smell good. It doesn't look good. It doesn't write good. It doesn't speak good. So welcome him. So wish to see him better presented, right? So the land, to look at the land, what we have done is land score and a crop score working with the satellite data companies, So see, we have brought this bureau score. I'm saying this openly because the bureau scores have come from Western world. Even the lending that is practiced in the last 30, 40 years is hugely centralized. Hence, we miss that last mile, knowing the person. So we're just selling a product. We are not buying his needs. I'm going to talk about selling the product, buying his needs, and engaging with the farmer. When we come to the agri-tech side of it, engaging with the farmer. Because we don't, that's why he's more engaged with the mandiwala, because he's welcome, spoken in his own language. He's been given what is to be given, how much to cash to be given for the festivals, how much for the personal needs, how much for the inputs, whatever the rate of interest. If he's paying 4% net rate here per annum, he's paying 4% rate per month there, right? Even then he says, this is too much of paperwork, this is too much of hassle for me. So that's where I stop. I think that answers that credit. And this is one of the best I found from one of the ex-NABARD MD. This is one of the best products in Southeast Asia. There's nothing called agri-lending. Personal loans are used as agri-lending in Southeast Asia. So India was very innovative to create this product, but it has to be delivered using the technology
properly. And actually, then if you can reach out and help the farmer plan his spend, I mean, his life will be so much more comfortable and he won't have to face the kind of challenges that he usually faces, financial challenges he usually faces. That brings me to another question. Now, Kisan Credit Card covers those farmers who have land. There's a very large percentage of landless farmers who actually use Perambok land and farm on it, pay rent to the government. How do they get covered? How do you validate identity of such a Kisan?
Yeah, there are two segments to that. I think I may be right in what I'm saying. The Flexi Kisan credit card from 10,000 to 50,000 doesn't really look for identification of ownership of a land.
Wonderful.
I have to get that correct, but I vaguely know that it is like that. There's another segment again, 8-10 crore farmers who just have a husband and wife and able children. They want to go and ask for a cattle, a buffalo or a cow, right? They're not. I think 2020, the government has announced, please include dairy, poultry, and fisheries into. You don't have to own the whole earth is your land. You go and like carry your able body and work on it, and you can take. Now the dairy. I want to talk about dairy. Like we have identified the land by ownership and the satellite data, accurate crop identification, estimation of incomes, and what is the level of crop, what is the irrigation status, what was the the whole in exactly 1 minute we were able to pick that up.
This data is publicly available.
It's publicly opened up in 2020, and there are a lot of satellite data companies who are processing it for us because we designed the product, sat with them, and got it done in less than 3 months. And this had to be low cost. You can't charge 2,000 rupees, 3,000 rupees to do that, right, which could have been done manually, right? And I want to talk about the cost of processing later right now. And then what we have done is we have also identified how to identify that cattle, right? Cattle has to be identified by breed, certification. You have that lot of tagging systems which have been cut, and there are so many issues. There is something called cattle biometric on the nose. It's called a nose biometric. It's very unique, very unique. And we have identified the tools, such tools in the market. We're going to bring it up at again the least cost and add it up as that. If it is not land, we're going to identify the cattle for the approval and the lending and disbursing to the person who's selling that, and thereafter monitor the cattle on a again neo-banking style. Customer will have a very simple app or a downloadable link. He can monitor. The more he monitors the cattle, the bank should look at like encouraging him, offering him an incentive to do that.
So that brings me to another question. How is acceptability for data aggregated in this form from banks' perspective? Are banks ready to accept it? Are they signing up?
Yeah. So when we started WhatsLoan, we wanted to build a digital financial identity on a blockchain. We had a big idea, and we had already built it for housing loans and auto loans and MSME and all that. We needed money like $3-5 million to launch that, right? Where will you, I think you asked the question in the last quick chat. Where will you go and get the customer? How do you get to the customer, right? That is the marketing problem. That is the selling problem.
True.
I don't believe in selling problem. I believe in engaging. I want to get into the engaging level and buying. So WhatsApp was never marketed. Everybody has WhatsApp today, including the rights. If you build a very high utility value platform, I will not use the word product again, the platform, you cannot sell the platform to them. You can sell convenience to them.
Yeah.
You have to give them what they want, when they want.
True.
How little trouble you will give them. Yeah. Today, if I say you don't have to carry the paper, sir, just come. Or come on a call in your own language, I'll onboard you. This happened when we launched, my co-founder, a lady who launched it across 3,000 branches, 1,100 branches, 3,000 users. It was thick of Corona. Nobody was coming to the branch, neither the customer nor the branch people. We were able to launch our product, and they were able to renew the loans without meeting the customer on the phone. Just on the phone.
Fantastic. So that brings me to another question. So when I look at, how do you identify end consumer in different market segments? Agri is one segment. Then there are the dealer distributor network. What do you think we will see in terms of, digital financial identity getting established? When will that get, like just today, we just believe Aadhaar, right?
Yeah.
What do you see in the timeline for a digital financial identity for anybody, whether it's a Kisan, whether it's a dealer? How do you see that happening? How do you see that emerging? And when do you think it will become a reality?
Yeah, thanks to 2001 Patriot Act, the FATCA happened, and every country can come part of that had to launch the AML guidelines, and it was more to control terrorist acts and the wrong money entering the borders and all that. That was the purpose, but that got heavily loaded as a KYC. Know your customer. It looks so simple. All of you hate KYC. The minute you go to the branch, you're such a big guy, you have all the relationship, you want to deposit some cash. Sir, where is your PAN?
Right.
And he already has all your information. You would print that and you would again ask, sir, please carry your original. And I want to take a copy of the PAN. You have to sign on that. Then I'll deposit your cash. You would have. So we want to move from KYC had a purpose and it is actually troubling everybody else. How do you move this to KYS? Know yourself. You have to empower the consumer and the user. I think maybe, centuries back, Vedas, Tattvamasi. Know yourself was the Socrates, he said, know yourself. The self-awareness, everybody has. But how do you present it to I call us the regulators or the regulated entities. They have their own rules. To meet those rules, how do you prepare this customer? The problem of applying for a loan, the application deters you. If you have to open another bank account, I don't think you will look at that 10-page application. All of you luckily have some assistance at office. You just signed, without looking at it. But if they've made a mistake, that will remain in your database, right? So how do you convert this? You don't have to say anything. We keep you ready, loan ready, BFSI ready. That is the idea of digital. There is other. Fantastic. We are covering almost 1 billion out of 8 billion people out there.
True.
The ID for development. There is a World Bank project, very heavily funded project, which says half of the people don't have any identity. And half of the people don't have any identity. And lucky India, we have created an identity called Aadhaar. It's a massive project. Because of that, we are able to create UPI and the whole lot of OKNs and ONDCs. Otherwise, we wouldn't have done that. What came next was DigiLocker. We are one of the first fintech companies to be approved by DigiLocker. Yeah. That is a single source of truth. Forget the blockchain. They've already quietly done something beyond the blockchain. Every data document of yours in a machine language and a PDF formats is readily available. This is only problem here is it is intrusive. You have to give a permission for me to access that.
True.
There are non-intrusive access of data, which is for business, it is available. So that we are trying to say that if there is a regulated entity, don't ask the farmer to give you a password or OTP or a passcode. So it will open up. I think usage is only 10%. We would have expected 40-50% by now. And we are able to take out the documents. I'll give you one link. If you open it, I'll show you, sir, you got 20 documents. Which of these documents you can share? You want to share it with me? And I share it, I process it, I fill your application, I give it in whatever format the bank wants. This is the second thing we have done. And that way, digital financial identity is already there. It is not on blockchain. And for some reasons, the government will not like the word blockchain. But they like the word DLT. The distributed ledger technologies will be using that. And in fact, we have got one of the first approvals from GIFT City, Ahmedabad, which is IFSC, which is International Finance Authority, which is called International Finance, it's a what do you call SEZ of finance. If you start a company, you can start an international company, dollar company. There, like you would do it in Singapore, Dubai, and all that. We got an approval to create interoperable digital financial identity for NRIs. That's a different topic there. But coming to farmers, farmer digital identity starts with Aadhaar. You need to identify the farmer. You would have known about Karnataka's Kutum. Kutum has done a fantastic job on assimilating the farmer's data. So is Fruits. Fruits has got every data about the farmer, where he is borrowed, what the subsidy is taken, what is sum total of the lands, not one piece of land, sir. The whole land that belongs to you is consolidated in a place. There is a purpose of the government, and it's good for us. We finished integration on 31st December with them. We are one of the first to integrate. And we want to see that, all these things will create a farm identity and a crop identity. Farmer identity is not enough. because he's not a business class, or
Correct.
he's not a self-employed, self-earning person. You have to identify the land, identify the crop. If the land is good, he's not grown anything there, so crop is bad and it doesn't make any sense. The land identity, crop identity, and the farmer identity, and the cattle identity. We call it the asset identity of the farmer. It could be a power tiller, it could be a tractor, it could be anything that he calls it as useful. We want to identify that and then give it back to him and make one unique identity, which he gives that identity to any bank. We should be able to look up all the information. It's the idea of what we want to take it to.
So what I'm getting from you is that if a solution provider gets down to it, there is enough permissioned public data available to establish financial credibility of any person, right? And even if it's a retailer who's there in a Bangalore market, I mean, if you have the PAN number, you can get, absolutely, you're having that conversation. You can get complete financial profile of the person. So I guess the digital identity is still not seamless like Aadhaar. I mean, it's being created for specific for example, you put in platform, you put in code in place to help a digital identity financial identity be created, but it's not seamless. I mean, it's not a resource, publicly available resource where I can actually just call for a financial check and I get that information. Is any effort happening in that direction at government level?
Okay, so the DigiLocker does that. You can be a registered requester. Any of the fintechs, agri-techs, businesses can become a requester. If you have to show the purpose. I showed a purpose that I want to build for banks. I want to build for myself or a marketplace. I want to make the user. You will not be able to market this utility. I will market it better, like ONDC. Somebody has to build on that. ONDC will not go and reach the retailers.
True.
So there, we built on that, and we also said we want to build a digital financial identity on a blockchain. I said, okay, one day you can become an issuer. I can issue this sum total of all these data.
Yeah.
Farmer identity, business identity, self-employed professional identity. This is how we see. Banks have built about 600 products.
Yeah.
Banks look at it in their own way. This has not changed from last 40 years, and this has come from Citibank or the banks which came from West. They didn't originate here. None of this is very Indian. That's why we suffer. There is a gap between MSMEs and understanding the MSMEs and the banks, because these formats have been centralized formats. They're not distributed formats, right? You can have the decision centralized, which I've enjoyed doing that, but you can decentralize the whole access to the customer. Is technology can only help there.
So,
sorry, I wanted to ask, you've been in the market for some time now. Tell us one story of how your product served the farmer.
Yeah, specifically, and when I said Corona, they were not able to renew. It could have gone into NPAs. They could have, reporting back to like RBI or anything. You're not able to visit them, and because there are due dates every month, set of farmers will come back. Kisan Credit Card is a 5-year overdraft limit to be renewed every year. Every year process is as good as you're getting a fresh loan. If you're not paid back on time, if you're not regular, if you're not resubmitted your land documents, KYCs, re-updation, bureau is run again, you will not be given loan again, or your account would go into a non-paid NPA status. So we were able to really solve that problem remotely, paperless, presenceless, underwriteless, branchless, whatever less you can call. We did all of that.
The MP story.
Okay. I'll come to the MP story.
Sorry,
I was privy to that.
Can I just? This is for the audience.
Yeah.
If you have questions, please put it in chat.
Ready to take.
Please put it in chat, and we will pick that up later for answering. Please carry on.
Okay. So that on 2nd September, this is the public information. RBI came out heavily on digital lending side. They were worried, what fintechs are doing. They're not regulated entities. They don't work with regulated entities, and they're building FLDGs. They're building co-lending models.
Correct.
They're doing on their own, which is pseudo lending and all that. Nothing to do with the Indian companies. There are fringe players which damaged the whole thing, and they came out heavily. We have represented ourselves like a body like this, FCC, Fintech Convergence Council, and all that. Not a dot was changed because they had their own thing. And they said the innovation with regulation, not without regulation. But luckily for us, we always worked with the regulators, regulators or the regulated entities. The same day, there was another guideline released was digital Kisan credit card. When I read the guidelines, that day I said something has come on digital Kisan credit card. We had already built 2.5 years back. The exact thing what was there. Then we were called out, can you launch? We already contracted with Union Bank of India. Can you build this for MP state? There was a specific reason for that because Karnataka is always ahead in digital. They said, can you try it in MP state or UP like that? I said, why not? We took about 2 weeks to build and release, tested it. And there was a good cooperation from MP government. They opened their APIs. When they saw the usefulness, when we showed them the sample of what I'm going to show you video, they opened the APIs to the consumable format, machine language, and we consumed that. We built new to bank, existing bank for renewal, new to bank, existing bank, new to credit. We call it as existing bank customer. He's got some relation with the bank. His KYC is clear, but he's coming for a new loan. It could be even he's coming for a KCC loan with other loan also. It's called new to credit, KCC, Kisan credit card. And we are asked to give it and whatever, we had already achieved 10 minutes an assisted model. Can you do 5-7 minutes, reduce better and all that? This is going in 2 minutes.
Wow.
Farmer gets a loan
No
in 2
paper,
minutes.
you are on the
10
farm.
minutes.
You have a smartphone, you have a farm, you are in the farm, you have a smartphone in your own language, MP Hindi. I'm not saying general Hindi. We have to create MP text script. And you start on a web, you can start anything, or you can just give a missed call, you will get a link and you can start it. And end of 2 minutes, what is achieved? I'm proud to say that, the RBI has guided us, and there have been the Union Bank of India is taken enough audit and all that to see the first pilot process done. Now we have already launched it, and a few hundred, I think less than 1,000 people have already accessed it. The credit of 1.6 lakhs happens in the account in 2 minutes. You have not met anybody. To do new to bank, we have to add a video KYC because that's a must. So now what we are testing, now shortly that will also go live. So 2 plus 5 minutes is 7 minutes. We know that it won't cost 10 minutes, including e-signing a document using NESL process. There is no stamping. If stamping is there, e-stamping would have been plugged in. So all the pieces which have just come a few months back, sir, all of that technology is used, and it's not easy to use. It is available. It is given. You know that as a practitioner. It looks so simple. It's only 5 steps. We know what has gone into that building. Thanks to Union Bank of India. Union Bank of India comes with tons of experience of agri-lending. I don't come with agri-lending experience. They gave us the process. We built the technology. And I participate as a functional expert or a lending expert. I participate in every bit of it. That's why I keep saying 70% is domain, 30% is technology. And we want to see that is reduced to 10-20%.
It's like whatever you're explaining is like a fairy tale. Glad that
for us also it's fairy tale. Till we finish it is a fairy tale, sir.
This is the joy of startups. This is the joy of magic.
And I want to give you one more addition to that, which you will like it because they're all you represent MSMEs. We have built a stack for 1.5 crore. Paperless presence is underwriteless for equipment finance. It's the largest permitted in India by anyone. Completely, and no balance sheet is required. Cash flow based lending, which before ONDC happened or OCAN happened, we have built this in 2020. April, I've delivered to Siemens Finance. It's one of the best built stack. They had 6 underwriters, and generally, time periods are 30-40 days to approve a loan. And we have done that also for MSME.
for India.
1.5 crores.
India. Equipment
Presence-less, paperless, you get.
Because they are our customer, I'm free to take their name.
So I want to come back to another point, which is, and you were talking about banks, So here's the interesting part. And again, coming back to the kind of opportunities, startups have grabbed. If you were in US, so expense management, bill processing are standard banking services, right? what has happened in India is that basically it's one to many, many to one kind of business, right? And expense management pieces are being done actually by startups. So they're tying up with banks only. Ultimately, money is being managed in a bank only. So I see this classic problem in India that banks are unable to get into products which are very relevant for industry and which actually bring in efficiency into the industry, and bank makes money on it. Why has that not been happening? You've been a banker.
Yeah, I'll bring a point of caution here.
Mhm.
Changing a policy is very difficult.
Okay.
Even a line, a dot,
Mhm.
SOPs,
Mhm.
operational guidelines, documentation takes. We will be at it all the time. Every quarter we look at it and we are at it and we will do that.
Mhm.
It's quite tough. Don't fintechs or any of the startups. I won't suggest you take on the banks to change something.
Mhm.
Work with them. Work
That is what is happening.
around. Work with them. They will tell you how to work with them.
Mhm.
Work with the regulator. It's very important. It's more hammered into from 2nd of September.
Mhm.
Work with them. Another thing is just see the process. Okay. There is something called digital transformation. The minute I hear the word digital transformation, I close my eyes and oh, this is a 5-year project.
True.
There will be top names involved.
Yeah.
They will take 6 months to 1 year to give a report. I'm sorry.
There'll be a marketing plan.
Yeah, I'm just saying that's the process. That's correct.
Yeah.
Maybe that's correct. But we call it as we will go digital direct.
Hmm.
I've come from the background of lending. Don't give me a 40 boxes of processes to do housing loan or MSME loans or secured MSME loans. We'll have 40, 50 boxes of process. So I take that. I said, I want to do an 8, 10 or maybe reduce it to 5. If you don't allow me, I don't want to work on this because it's a digitization project. This is not a digital direct project.
Mm-hmm.
We take up only digital direct projects,
Mm-hmm.
and we are convincing them. Why we look convincing is we set up bankers with 100 years of experience, 5 of us. We're able to talk their language. We don't talk piece of technology. We don't talk any technology there. He's a customer to me. The need is of the lender. There's a credit manager. There's a credit hierarchy. There are sales managers, sales hierarchy, and there are operational risk managers. We have to meet all of that. Without
their language.
Yeah, without that, I don't think we will be able to succeed.
Very true.
I'll just shut it down.
Very true.
So we have learned to work with that, and we have got about 25 projects by now, and we are able to convince a housing finance company, a MFI. We are able to convince a few NBFCs. We are able to convince a Gramina bank. We are able to convince a public sector bank.
Mm-hmm.
And we have a few more prospects, about 3-5 public sector banks.
So, sorry, I'm jumping in. Timmana, I, from whatever I've heard from you, I see that there is tremendous opportunity in the last mile. Whether you connect to the customer or you bring products which make sense to the customer, which banks can work with you. If you can address the last mile reach and create those products. Expense management is one such example, right? Or, one to many, many to one is another example. And all these products that you're saying, so I'm not too sure whether, because startup entrepreneurs who get into fintech, I really question how many of them have hardcore banking experience or actually have active bankers on their board. Because buy now, pay later, so many jumped into it. It was an easy thing to do, right? You find your niche, a geographical niche or a specific niche, and you start getting into buy now, pay later. And so I think one takeaway, very important takeaway for those who are watching this, if you are a startup or an entrepreneur who wants to build something, guys, work with the bank. Find a banker to work with, and there is enough opportunity in the last mile. That's what I would probably.
Yeah. So I'll pick up from there, and
you want to show your video and then speak about the things.
Yeah, you can just play 2 videos. One is about just advertorial a little bit, but it's real. And the other one is in the public domain. And again, other one is the Gramina Bank, what we built as a stack.
Just bear with us for a moment.
Just go to the videos. Just there in the mail, I've got 2 videos, right? Yeah, you can play that.
प्रधानमंत्री जी का सपना है जय जवान जय किसान। इस सपने को पूरा करते हुए प्रस्तुत है डिजिटल इंडिया के किसान क्रेडिट कार्ड का डिजिटलीकरण।
अरे घनश्याम, मैं आ गया। तुम खेत में क्या कर रहे हो?
ताज्जुब है, क्या तुम देख नहीं सकते?
काम कर रहा हूँ। लेकिन मैंने तो तुमको तैयार होकर बैंक चलने के लिए कहा था। मैंने यहाँ बैठे बैठे अपने बैंक से लोन ले लिया। ये क्या मजाक है? मुझे अभी अभी पता चला है किसान क्रेडिट कार्ड का डिजिटलीकरण हो गया है। अब घर बैठे बैठे कुछ घंटों में ही लोन प्राप्त किया जा सकता है। वाह, मतलब बिना कहीं जाए, बिना परेशान हुए कुछ ही घंटों में लोन की प्राप्ति। कैसे? अपना फोन दिखाओ, मैं बताता हूँ कैसे। बैंक की वेबसाइट पर जाओ, यहाँ अपना आधार नंबर डालो, अब अपने खसरे का विवरण दो, अगले वर्ष की फसल का विवरण डालो। अब निश्चित हो जाओ, तुम्हारा लोन स्वीकृत हो गया। मतलब हम जहाँ, हमारा लोन वहाँ।
पेश है किसान क्रेडिट कार्ड का डिजिटलीकरण। पूरी तरह से स्वचालित प्रक्रिया, बैंक जाना आवश्यक नहीं, कोई भौतिक दस्तावेज जमा करने की आवश्यकता नहीं, स्वामित्व की तत्काल ऑनलाइन जांच, रुपए 1,60,000 तक का तत्काल लोन। किसान क्रेडिट कार्ड का संपूर्ण डिजिटलीकरण आरबीआई के मार्गदर्शन में आरबीआई के सहयोग से यूनियन बैंक ऑफ इंडिया द्वारा शुभारंभ।
पायलट राज्य मध्य प्रदेश।
Is this available in public domain?
It's available. It's advertising.
Okay.
Yeah.
Union Bank advertising.
This is supported by the Reserve Bank's Innovation Hub.
It's audited. And,
Okay,
yeah,
so
cleared by-
a lot of things going. Next video.
For many, this will be unbelievable, I tell you.
Absolutely.
And we started from farmers, sir.
Yeah,
Absolutely. We have been.
unbelievable, actually.
Yeah, excellent.
Yeah,
It's fun. So I think the good thing is a bank reached out.
you can
to
reduce the volume you can. You can move or lower it. Lower. You can see this DigiLocker way picking up the. This is an assisted model. What we're going to 3,000 officers.
An entrepreneur boy in the village will go and support a farmer to fill in
It could
this.
be a BC, banking correspondent. It could be your common service centers. Anywhere we can host it. You can reduce the volume.
So if there are documents in DigiLocker, you have access.
Yeah.
If it is not there,
Yeah. It will be there, sir.
it will be there.
All 1.3 billion people, all documents are already there. They're issued by the government. It happened in 2017.
DBT.
Yes.
No, generally they've done this. Now your health card, your vaccination certificate, your children's certificates, everything is there.
Okay.
Your gas connection.
That's an automated thing, is it? Not that I have to open it.
No, you have to access it. That's all.
Okay. But it's available there. How do you?
You're not uploading it. If you upload, I don't trust it. But if
How do you?
you gotta set up an account, that's all, one time.
DigiLocker will have all options.
Correct. You can say which these are documents I want to share.
What we have currently we store all the
Store, sir. What you store is, I don't believe it, but I have to verify it again.
Okay.
What government issued is, I'm taking it in the machine format.
It's
Sir,
actually
no.
like my art,
That's not machine format. So that you can tamper it.
While scanning, you can.
What you give me, I don't trust. Bankers don't trust what you give me. That's why the friction is. We're removing the friction.
basically from the source directly or pulling the data.
Yes. It's seeded and given by the government. When they're connected to the various
Automatically. Okay.
like IT return, they're asking for IT returns, your MSME details. MSME's got a little consent problem. Once that is sorted out, I think even MSME details will start going. GST data, your insurance is already there.
No,
Like
second thing that I have seen is once you buy a vehicle, all your vehicle details are already in the DigiLocker.
Sir, the line-
My RC.
RTC, land record RTC and all.
The only thing is in the family, I think
That comes from the Kutum platform in Karnataka. That's what I'm saying. So you get the entire family
Fruits package.
It's package.
Yeah.
ununited farmers also got a lease plan. What about that?
I'll explain. This automatically fills
What
up.
about the contractual workers? Contractual workers.
Somebody gives me an opportunity. Again, we work with the banks. So, gig workers, contractual workers, and there is a place to grow. That is a huge population we have to cover. This is a good universe for us. 120 million farmers to touch.
That's a great, yeah.
Nobody gets a homogeneous system, single problem to solve.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
One
product, one process.
Pretty huge market.
If you just give your thing, it's accessing your satellite data to
Satellite
the
data
land.
is easy. You are marking the land.
My God.
I automatically can take it from the state. Some states are giving me cadastral data in digital format, or you can manually mark it, confirmed by the officer. I go to the land, and what comes out is in less than 1 minute, the complete land details you can see.
What is the?
This is small drive, which you can see.
Land score and a crop score.
Yeah. So who powers it? Land scoring.
We have a satellite data company working with us. SatSure is the name here.
Yeah, that's sure. Pradeep.
Yeah.
What is the
Yeah,
periodicity?
Pradeep is here. Is somewhere here on the score.
What is the periodicity of refreshing the data? Suppose the title changes. In case of title,
It's instant.
automatically your data will get connected.
What I don't store the data. I
That's
call
what I'm
it.
saying.
I call the data.
Okay.
A lot of people store the data. We don't store the data.
135.
We don't create databases.
No.
Any questions on this? I think
I just want to say, look, this is where you've reached. You've done a lot. Okay. I promised a lot of agri startups that they can build on this. Tell us
Absolutely.
something about how you'll build on
Absolutely.
this.
Yeah, thank you so much. I want to propose one thing to BCIC, KEDM, where I'm part of. I'm a part of FinTech Task
You should
Group.
explain
We have-
KEDM.
Yeah,
Okay.
we have KEDM is Karnataka Digital Mission under the digital vision of the Karnataka government. Works with the ITBT minister, and we have Chairman B.V. Naidu. Sanjeev is the CEO. Prashant Prakash, who is one of the VCs, who's heading as a chairman. And we have a whole lot of government machinery behind us. We've just released on 16th, 17th of December in Bangalore. We have released our first roadmap of FinTech. I'm part of that group. Nitin Kamath, Harshil Mathur, and are with me. And we have written a policy. Bangalore is attracted FinTech just by climate. I don't think any special work was done. Now that we have already covered 40-50% of the country. If you do a little more, maybe we'll get to 60-70%.
Chat.
Yeah, 60-70%.
for you.
Yeah, okay. I'll take that.
We should go.
Somebody can read out because I don't think I can see that.
Are you also solving the issues related to DB something?
We should go the first one.
No, there is a first question, sir.
Go to
How
first.
are you solving the end usage problem of the farmer loans? That is ensuring the loan is used for the purpose it is taken for by the farmers.
Okay, that's a good question. I was coming to that. That's part of the topic later, but I will cover it right now. See, right now we are solving a distribution problem. Okay, I will not call distribution, the word will not be good for the lending. We are solving an access problem. Banks have been spending about 2% to 5% to lend. Average ticket size of Kisan credit card is 1 lakh. 2,000 to 5,000 rupees has been spent on processing. Forget about your incomes from there. Keep your credit costs, credit losses, delays, whole things, social things get involved there, right? So that means from the beginning, it's not a profitable proposition for them. What we offered them is we will cut the cost by 90%. There is no budgetary allocation that is required for us. That's why I call it a platform approach, not a software approach. We are not service providers. We are not a product. We are a platform. We are building micro modular cloud-based systems, which were already built based on DigiLocker and all that. We had to reassemble. The only piece which we had to bring in was land record access and satellite data access. They were the only two pieces we had to bring for the farmer purpose and understand how it is lent. And it is NABARD guided policy, not a dot changes. Every bank has to deliver the same policy, same rate of interest, same process, right? Banks are interested in lending and also knowing when it's paid back. I call it as it's still a selling mode. This is not even a selling mode. It's a servicing mode because there's a government mandate to do 18% of your lending of bank credit into agri.
Private sector lending.
Yeah, private sector lending and plus 12% for your MSME, affordable housing and all that. We want to get to when we see, okay, banker's perspective to control what is he doing with the thing, it's a bad objective. It will not succeed because the other person is working against it. So what you can do is, I spoke about a selling model. We are out of it. Buying model, we have gone into it. So we are facilitating the customer. Engagement model is what a lot of agri-tech companies can do, and a lot of startups can build. And sir was saying that how do you bring the accounting? Farmer doesn't have an accounting. He has never taken a pen and pencil to write his books. Somebody writes his books. You know who writes his books. For that, he makes tons of money, rightly or wrongly, right? So because he's not counting the notes, he's never touched the notes. His account has never been credited. It's all outside the system. He goes to the mandis. That's why he pays 50-60% rate of interest. Engagement model is, we're talking about neo-banking, where how do you build those in understandable formats? Can you build it on WhatsApp? Can you just give a missed call and get his information? Call this number for your balance, call this number for your accounting. That's how you should work. The backend will work in any language, provided you give the access points. And I've been told that 30-40% of people will have only feature phones. How do you service this information on their feature phone is our problem to solve. Definitely we want to go there and encourage the customer to behave better. If he behaves better, but for a better behavior, if there are incentives by the government and the banks, I think he will be encouraged to do that, to be a good customer.
I've always believed that when a farmer can be loyal to somebody who is paying 40% interest,
he's loyal, sir.
He will pay here also. There is no reason to default. Okay, but we need the startup supporting there. We'll come back to the question of mine. Next question, please.
Are you also solving the issues related to DBT? It would be great to hear more on your growth plans. Are you looking to raise funds?
I think DBT is a direct benefit transfer.
Yeah, one step backward. DBT can be enabled with the same thing if the banks want it. Again, we are only working for the banks. We are not set up our own thing. If the state government wants, can you set up a DBT platform for us? We would happily set up for a DBT where there will be no mess. There will be no misidentification, misland identification, person identification. I mean, the whole infrastructure, digital infrastructure is available. It's just a mandate we need. We don't need even the process we'll find or we'll listen to you. We can do that. Yeah, one step backward. DBT is just the Kisan credit card is the next hierarchy in the DBT. After the DBT, what is the Kisan credit card? We have got there.
Just want to say, obviously, there's a startup asking, are you looking to raise funds?
Oh, yeah. Okay. I mean, startup is.
I said we are jumping 3 domains.
Okay. Being a banker, I think we're a little more on the self-sustainable mode, bootstrapped, profitable, not very big, but we'll get big 10-20 times. For a faster expansion, for the purpose of meeting the millions of needs, we have never written an Excel sheet of projections. Without projections, we work. We never made a projection because we know what we're getting into. We want to make a projection of how many million farmers we will service, how many MSMEs we will service, how many consumers will satisfy. That is going to be my projection. Automatically, money will come. Sir, ask me a marketing problem. People will come if the utility is very high and it will be spreading.
So I want to tell many of the startups, don't begin with where will I get fund for making my idea real. Here's a case where they had an idea, they had the domain expertise, they brought in the expert, they solved the problem. Very clear money will.
We are profitable by month 3.
In 3rd month.
During Corona. Otherwise, it would have been better off.
Next question, please. Disqualified here. Timmana would be happy to have other people's money in his pocket.
Absolutely. We'll service better and expand to Southeast Asia. What is your South Saharan, Saharan Africa, MENA region. And the other day saying the Western countries, Europe, some of the Eastern Europe and Western Europe, agri lending is so paper-based. So is Canada, which is a French-based system of agriculture or cooperative system. Community banks, whatever, community banks and credit unions, they call it. They're all paper-based. You have to do 4 visits to open an account in Canada today. And we have achieved a loan without a visit.
Next question, please.
Does nose muzzle based?
I don't know. This is whether relating to the subject.
Yes.
Biometric cattle identification technology available commercially.
Yes, they are. It is readily available and employable. Anybody can. I can give the addresses. I am representing fintechs. I'm not representing WhatsLoan here. I would be happy to call anybody because I'm also holding a KEDM thing that, okay, anybody should be able to be encouraged. They're not my competition. They're my partners.
We'll look at some more questions in time to come.
Yeah.
Tell me, how can a startup build on what you have done? One example.
Absolutely. I think a lot of fintechs can partner with me if they have a piece of other things what we are not doing, and what will not step on their shoes. They should not be stepping on our shoes if they're fintechs. And for example, neobanking. If somebody has built a neobanking kind of, I saw somebody has built. We are talking to them. If they want to create an accounting on the fly for the farmer, just keep saying something with the voice based and all that. It keeps account of it, and that creates a cash flows weekly. Actually, the dairy's got a beautiful cash flows. If you're a tied society, your money is coming into your account. Government is giving 5-7 rupees credit for every liter of milk. So we already done that for one of the largest dairies in India. We connected to their ERPs and 190 milk centers, and we are able to show them daily, weekly, monthly cash flows. We're able to estimate what loans they can get. So such people Agri-Techs can work with us. Every commerce is e-commerce today. Every e-commerce needs fintech, right? So every Agri-Tech, when they're trying to sell the product and services, the farmer pops up a question saying, where is the money? We'll get you the money because we don't bring the technology. We also bring the banks to you. We have mandates from the banks to become their marketplaces. They said, I can't be marketplace alone. I've never met a farmer in the last 3 years of 3 lakh farmers. I've never met him, but I've serviced him virtually. So we are doing this session virtually. That was also virtual. Building virtually, delivering virtually. You don't even go to sign a paper. We sign a paper, right? So we want to engage with them. All the Agri-Tech companies are welcome to join us on our platform, which is an Agri-Loan platform. We have a mandate for that. And embedding the finance. Will you one button, click for an Agri-Loan, click here. That's it. We'll take you to a bank. We'll take you to multiple banks. We are creating a digital financial identity for a farmer. We'll make the banks compete for your business.
So that's an opportunity for anybody.
Agri-Techs, MSMEs, whatever. Agri-MSMEs.
I want you to talk about that L&T example, which makes so much sense for regular business.
Absolutely. So one of the platforms we have built is for L&T Group called lntsufin.com. L&T Sufin is the industrial engineering, heavy engineering platform like Gouda, right? They gave us a problem that, we want to know our buyers, know our seller who are on our platform, curated. This is a beautiful thing, actually. The thought was very good. I said, what are the one data point I need? Again, non-intrusive data point. In business, sir, I don't need your permission for a lot of things I can take from you, because if you give me your company name or SIN number, I can take anything I want. I don't need your permission for that. Sorry, I don't need your permission at all. So I'll know your shareholding, I'll know your directorship, I'll know whose directorship has expired, everything I'll know. Who's our auditor, everything we know. Whatever you have filed, right? So with the business PAN card, we call the GST data. With the GST data, we call so many other things. If it's a private limited, we call everything. We are able to create a profile. We have created, and we call it, wherever there is access to GST is required, access to IT return is required, access to bank statement is required, bureau is required. One is consent, another one is access. That access, what we do is, we send a link to you. I don't ask you for the OTP or password. I send a link to you, you open your link. I know none of you have your own passwords. You send it to your chartered accountant. You are free to send it to your chartered accountant. He'll open the link. You will send it with a message why it is required. We only take the data, analyze the data, and bring it up as a profile. They called it as trust identity. So buyer and seller's trust identity. And we also create digital financial profile and a loan file. You could go for a short-term loan, long-term loan, CGTMSC scheme, secure loan, unsecured loan, discounting of a bill. I'll take you to all the platform. The other side is a difficult one, connecting to each bank and formatting that to connect to them. That's where we have started the work.
So this then goes beyond Agri-Tech. Anybody who actually wants to do last mile verification and has the ability to go there, so you can play a role for that.
Absolutely.
Fantastic. Yeah. Fantastic.
I just wanted to ask, I have known that bankers don't take risk. Take a risk to be an entrepreneur. Tell me something about that, please. Yourself. What made you jump this? What did you go through in building this?
Bankers do take risk. Those banks which have got a big balance sheet, they do take risk. If the public sector banks have written off 10 trillion, 10 lakh crore, it would have definitely supported the economy. It's not bad to write off. If US could write off, the AIGs of the world to become the strongest, still they remain the strongest economy in the last 12 years after that, 12 or 14 years after that. When farmers' loans are written off, and maybe you're helping a lot of families out there. If it's the reality, it's a reality, right? So I'm just saying, so banks will take risk. We are making it enabled, calculating that risk, measuring that risk and risk pricing. Today we have a binary system of credit, yes or no. When you say no, customer doesn't know why he's been declined. We don't even tell him. We are supposed to tell him. We don't tell him because we don't have the quantifiable measurement to tell him, sir, on this point, on this data point, we have failed you, right? Which we want to bring it back. That's what I said. They're in the selling model. They oversell, decline. They know that if you go to for a personal loan, 50% is out. No, 50% is yes. So accordingly, they have their channels ready for that. Auto loan is 80-20 and home loan is 90-10. 10 is rejection, 90. So accordingly, we orient our distribution channels. So I'm saying that what if you empower the consumer to know about himself? Take a mirror, give it to him. Sir, you're looking good, looking bad, looking ugly. So repair him. Why? If an MSME is bad, let's repair him for next 1 quarter, 2 quarter, 4 quarter, you would have repaired him. Even the bureau gets repaired in 3 years, right? Everything is repairable. So we are getting into that engagement model, encouragement model, and showing the customer what he is. And what he said is accounting level, and you should go there. There's so many kata books of the world, or like accounting, neo-banking models. They should connect to the lending systems. They're running parallelly. The neo-banking is not just about opening an account. Neo-banking should be how you are using the money.
Yeah.
If if banks get more, banks are not about one-time decisioning. Our problem is about monitoring that. What are you doing with the money? If it's given for working capital, is he going and spending on personal expenses? Or it is captured as, spent for the purpose. More or less, we have quarterly audit, monthly audit, but you can miss all of that. It is real time. On your tally is connected, your mobile phones are connected. I think more visibility will give us to take we are talking about grading the risk rating and risk pricing. A, B, C, D. D maybe not. You can take it or you can take it with a big risk. Risk pricing. Home loan is given at say 9%, yes and no. What if you give it at 12%? Take a little bit of risk. That's what the technology will enable you to do that. Hence, the bankers will take more risk with technology. Visibility of while taking the risk. After taking the risk, how do you monitor an asset, a purpose, end use, and his behavior financial? How is he faring? It's not like you ask him and he tells you. It is a quarterly submitted balance sheets or annual submitted balance. What if I get into connected to your, which I think Oken is proposing. I'll connect to your GST. I know exactly how's your sales going up and down. Accordingly, I'll adjust the working capital. That's my quick answer to that.
So I think it is possible. I mean, it's getting there.
We're getting there. Yes.
Another 5 to 10 years, the scenario will be very different.
Banks are really taking risks.
Digital transparency, actually.
Absolutely. And for you, important is it should be for the user. And you will share it with the banks to be incentivized for doing that better behavior.
I think the big lesson is whatever innovation he has done is because some bank came to him and told him, I'm ready to do this.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, very true. Because otherwise I would be spending another 3 years to figuring out where to get this customer, taking him to the bank and getting.
So banks will solve what are their critical problems.
They're the best at lending, best at recovering, sir.
Yeah. So after the success, Union Bank can
any questions?
Yeah, so questions.
No questions?
So, two things here. One is that, this is when you complete the entire value chain. So you have created an engagement model. That's what you are envisaging. Post engagement model, you also need to have a third-party feedback mechanism. Complete the loop. Is it going in the right direction or not? What are the areas of improvement? What are the strength areas? Then build upon to it. That is one missing link. So for example, when you are reaching out to, say 5 million farmers, how many? 3 lakhs now. Okay, so 300,000 farmers are already reaching out. So in that case, how often do I taking feedback from them? So that, third party, because internal, it will be biased. So that you need to budget for.
Yeah, we don't have a mandate for that, sir. After I hand over, after the approval and digital documentation delivery, I have no view of that. The data is not coming back to me. That's not the platform.
That's not the role also.
Yeah, that's not the role, but that's called a loan management system, LMS.
Yes.
The day they give me LMS, I think I'll answer that question. No, I'm just saying I don't have a mandate for that. I would love to build that, the monitoring systems, early warning systems and all that. But what we are thinking, telling the banks, sir, you want to have the visibility of where the money goes? We're going to lock up, say, so 20% is for the input cost. We're going to release the cards, the debit cards. We're going to have input dealers coming into that who are called, I won't call it as closed loop, identified input dealers. If you go to that input, you'll give 10-20% discount. So your interest is squared. You have to be incentivized for a behavior.
Yes.
He's a farmer. If he doesn't get a benefit, he will not do it.
Yeah.
So
just look at this. I know for a fact that agri inputs go with margins of anywhere from 20% to 100%. Okay. Because money gets transferred from farmer's account meant for that product straight to the retailer or the manufacturer, boss, why do I need to charge 100% margin?
Precisely.
Okay. So, everybody benefits.
And you can publish an offer. This input dealer nearest to that, these inputs are available at this price for you, especially for you because you are a customer of this bank. It's a fantastic encouragement.
No, if a very, very crude example would be an analogy like a payroll processing. You're not doing the disbursement. You are managing the intermediary processing. Okay.
So in many ways, the startups that can build on this really are those who work with farmers.
We need the card rails for that.
Okay. I'm a sugarcane farmer. I need to pay for the tractor to transport the cane from my my farm to the factory. The bill, I don't have money to pay him. It gets
as far as I know,
budget for it.
Yes Bank and HDFC Bank, they are parallelly working on that area. Who are your competition?
Who's your competition?
Competition is another fintech, sir, not the bank.
Not the bank.
Banks are my partners.
But there's few banks that are developing in-house systems. What you're talking about?
We'll be faster than them. Fintechs, we is not we. Fintechs will be faster than them.
Obviously.
Yeah.
There's one more question. Securing DigiLocker looks out the firm's USP. How best the government was open to share the access to the single private party, being the only one to access?
You have to have a business purpose, then they will give you have to apply. There is an online application. 1.5 days it gets approved.
So anyone can.
You should have a business purpose. What is the business purpose you're serving? And will you maintain that? You should not be using for any purpose which is.
I think the more question is coming more of a confidentiality part of
confidential. Yeah.
There's one more question. Can you explain a little more on land score and crop score?
It's a little proprietary in the sense that, what is the bureau score? It's your credit behavior. Likewise, what is your cropping pattern? What is the yield in that area of your land? What is the irrigated status? What is the humidity? How many times you lost the crop? How many times you grown better than the average yield, better yield? Those are the land score is about how good is the land. Is the land located in an irrigated area? Is it a fertile land? Kind of thing. Crop score is how good was your last 3-4 crops, last 3 years data.
So basically, every company can build its own model.
Yeah, they can build. You can sit with the bankers and build that model.
Absolutely.
No, there are you mentioned the Pradeep Singh, that's your company. So there are organizations who are working in that technology area, wherein they'll kind of, merge 4 or 5 different sources of information, like SMT, which is soil moisture temperature, weather information, your cadastral mapping, like land state, sentinel, the satellite data which comes, and then blend it together.
They are the creators of this land score and a crop score, yes.
So quite efficient, isn't it?
Being tested, whatever has to be tested has to be tested.
I just want to say, look, I hear a story for collaboration. Tell something of how a number of these stakeholders can collaborate finally to serve the farmer. That's my word. That's what I want to highlight today.
Yeah, farmer is just grows the whole value chain up to serve when it is on the and sells as MTR, the best price, best food product, right? So by then, I think 1 rupee becomes 10 rupee, maybe 10 times.
5 times maybe.
5 times at least.
5 times.
4 to 5 times. So that is the value chain. How much of that you can bring it back to the farmer? You know, it's nothing to do with him. It's not something to do with the, okay, he wants quality. If you give me quality, then I will give you this. Who's going to grade the quality? And how do you assemble? You cannot take small quantities of that quality. He wants large quantity of that quality, right? So there are so many agri-techs who are doing this on the supply chain, input side, in between, not like worry about monitoring the crop, you know, like not giving inputs because money is available, putting extra inputs and damaging the crop. All of this, you know, sum total of all this, agri-techs are welcome to collaborate among themselves with fintechs, with the banks. Our promises will bring the technology and the bank to you. Bank balance sheet comes to you. I call it as, you know, borrower is waiting outside saying that I won't get the money, and these guys are waiting here. Said, where is the farmer? I've not found this good farmer. How do you find this good farmer? That arbitrage is being, you know, narrowed, at least if not like taken out with the technology.
I had the question of landless. It's the leased land farmer.
Yeah. What is that in the process? Okay, in the NABARD. The guidelines, they write it as sharecropper, lease lands and all that. If you are leasing a land, sir, there has to be a document, right?
Yes.
Which farmer is ready to sign a document that I've leased the land?
Yeah, that's sufficient.
Nobody does.
I'm telling you, I'm a farmer's son. Nobody. Oral, everything is oral. Oral lessees are also allowed. But how do you establish? Can I show your name as you had orally agreed in my form that the column number 11 in the RTC of Karnataka government, then it's acceptable.
Okay.
If it is coming more than 1.6 lakhs, within 1.6 lakhs, just consent is required that he's going to grow on yours thing. You both consent because it's going to be hypothecation of crop again marked on that form 3. It's called form 3.
Okay.
One more question. How do you visualize OCEN impacting the ecosystem? What are all the possibilities?
Okay.
Like they say, happy cow is good milk, happy farmer is a good output. So we are talking about, I think, food security. We have achieved the food security, but where is the farmer income security?
Yes, I think so, very well.
Yeah, it's very important. You have to see the happy family of the farmer. He's pushing his children to some education, getting them to the city. Actually, those kids are funding his debts.
Very true.
We are from those families. It is nothing away from my family or anybody's family.
Absolutely.
We have all experienced when we are young.
Correct.
We have written checks from our salaries to our closed sum accounts of which our family couldn't pay. So I'm carrying that story if it has to be a personal story. The happy farmer is a good for the nation.
Should we run through some of the slides just to kind of summarize? We're coming to the end.
Yeah.
We have some time.
One of the terms that you used a lot was engagement, or you get into engagement model. Would that also be digital, or at some point you?
Yes, sir. Everything has to be digital because India is a million farmers country, 146 million or 300 million roughly. Like, sir, what's it? Even including them, 300 million farmers. And we have got 2 billion acres of land. That's all, right? Everybody got average of less than 2 acres. So we cannot service him physically, not possible. Nobody can inspect his land and give a report, and that will be 1 month later with a grudge, and it will cost a lot of money. So it has to be digital. And digital is not for the urbanites, it's for everybody. That's what we are trying to solve the problem. Digital is not, customer not going to feel the digital or technical thing. You have a phone, you're already digital. Whether it's a smartphone and a smart feature phone, we are coming there. We will come there. If you have mandate, we'll go there also.
Please just next slide.
Yeah. Okay. So primarily the WhatsLoan as a sample, the neo lending, why use, if neo banking somebody is used, we took the first word as neo lending. Lending has to be neo. It's a new way of doing it, and it has to be digital direct. We are part of the IM NSRCL incubated by them, thanks to amazing professors who have supported us on policy making, convincing the banks. small company fintech like WhatsLoan should get an opportunity to compete with the biggest of the big for giving you the platform. Again, we are accelerated by GAIN in Bangalore, a MeitY startup under MeitY startup scheme. We are part of Kisan Mitra. Our platform is running on Kisan Mitra. They have given us an opportunity to present it to all the FPOs, agri universities, and all the agri policymakers thing. We also got an approval from interoperable digital financial identity. Another problem we want to solve is NRI problem. Accessing loans in India, accessing loans in their own country. And that's not there. So I faced that problem in my banking career. So we wanted to build that and we got an approval. And we are a B2B fintech platform and we work with the banks. You can
next slide.
So these are our customers and publicly available. Union Bank of India, we are deploying and finishing it state by state. Karnataka Gramin Bank is our largest customer for farmers. 20,000 villages we have impacted, 1,100 branches use our platform, 3,000 users assisted model is used. IIFL has got more than 1.5 lakhs affordable housing, less than 10 lakhs thing. So we have done a physical process there, not digital. They said the file will come physically, the underwriter will sign physically, but in between you have to verify digitally. That time was 2 weeks, kind of 1 week to 2 weeks.
That was RPA was used through RPA.
We use everything, direct access, RPAs, all the AI, ML, vision technologies, all of that we use inside. Then Canara Bank was one of the largest customer for housing loans, affordable and mid-ticket. Union Bank of India is going to be our Kisan credit card digital, what I showed you.
Your forte again has been the processing.
Document processing.
Transfer processing thing.
This is loan operating system, I call it. It's like Android and iOS. I'm not a loan origination system. I'm origination, validation, decisioning, documentation, handing over system.
Okay.
That's why. So we are absolutely, how we have built it fast and at a least cost. We don't have a fixed cost model. We don't take any money from the bank to start. Otherwise, they don't believe us. The balance sheet is not big. It's a zero money. You don't have to give me any money. When you tell me in 1 month to 3 months, we'll deliver. If you don't like it, throw it off. No problem. So we take the risk. We are micro modular, totally digital. We cover RAM, retail, agri, and MSME. So I focus on agri today, but we cover the whole segment. We say that there are 600 products, we call it schemes. We love to make schemes as bankers. But for you, you are a customer. You're either you are a salaried class, self-employed professional, or you are a businessman. You are a manufacturing unit, trading unit, service unit, something. So there are customer segments, and retail is like consumer. Consumer could be buying a car or a card or personal loan or home loan or loan against property. In case of MSME, you have a whole lot of secured loan, unsecured loan, working capital limits and all that. In agri specific, it could be for tractors, agri gold loan, warehouse receipt loan. We covered all of that. Kisan credit card is one large piece in that. That's why we call it origination, validation, straight to process. Whatever the underwriter was doing, taking few hours, few days, to bring it to split minute. And digital documentation is open for last 1 year because digital stamping is available, digital e-signing is available. And these 30, 40 pieces we build micro modular, so kept, so that we can redesign quickly for you. So that we are not changing your policy. We'll work with your policy. Yeah.
Next slide, please.
This is a universe of digital infra in India. It started with DigiLocker, we went up all the way to satellite data and satellite data. And in between GST, OCAN, ONDC, we have done all this in the last 2-3 years, much before anybody else. Account aggregator, direct access through using Yardley technologies from US, Indianized to our levels. All the government, non-government, and privately available, consented, not consented, or intrusive, non-intrusive access we got. And we follow all the privacy policies, digital consents, and all that. And we work with all the bureaus in between.
Globally.
India. Right now we are India. We want to go global. That's why we would raise money. So we focus on customer segment. The way that we call it a portfolio of digital platforms. We are a loan operating system. We are not a loan origination system. We said, okay, to the right side, don't look at the right side. You get lost. The bankers will always make you build for the right side. We build for the customer segment. There are only 3 types of customers, and we build for them. And while building for the customer, we also kept in mind what channels the customer is meeting the bank. Who is he coming digitally, physically, in person, through a DSA, auto dealer, builder, or a banking correspondent, direct visit to the branch, on phone banking system, or on mobile, on web, chatbot. All of that we kept in mind. And we also built, in between, we built co-lending models. If you've got NBFCs, HFCs who are small and want to work with the big banks, we standardize and we neutralize that, the application process.
So if I'm a startup and I'm operating some kind of contract farming,
you can go to the bank through us. I'll just give you a button.
yeah, that's it.
I'll set it up in 1 to 3 days and
How
give it to you.
my process would be.
And we are very fair partner there, We actually earn from the bank, give it back to you. You don't have to give us any money. So we reverse it. Yeah, I think these 2 videos we already played. And just go to the next slide. Interestingly, we kept in mind, we have to meet the regulations of even like finance ministry. They've been releasing now 5.0 is the latest. They've been releasing EAS 3.0, 4.0, 5.0 and all that. They've called out for like digital agri lending, I don't know, like dial a loan, click to credit and all that. They're very good to announce, but when you get to the there is a lot of work and we have been doing that work. I mean, we are kept in these 4 boxes, we are doing all of this.
Next slide.
Yeah.
So that's full lot. That's the time at 5 o'clock.
Great. I think this
Thank
is
you so much.
Excellent, excellent.
To each of
Okay.
the participants, I really want to thank you.
Agri, I have no knowledge, so I'm sorry I've not stepped into too much into agri because
I think we did not do justice to the depth of the work that happened, but I'm sure the agri startups
No
that have
questions,
registered will be willing to handshake with you and go ahead. Okay. Let's call this a day today, please.
One
Would be
question,
happy to interact.
uh,
Thank you all.
all along,
thank you all.
you spoke about farmers, agri-tech, fintech and all that. Are you also working something related to markets actually? Market